Hello, welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. I am Fearless Floyd. This is a YouTube edited version of my interview with Daryl D. James, super soldier. And the subject matter content required that we edit it out. You can join my members only here on YouTube for 99 cents a month and watch the full version. It is available there. Or you can go find it on my other social media platforms as The Fearless Floyd Show. Thank you for watching. This is one of the most fascinating interviews that I think I've ever conducted with anybody. And I've talked to PhDs, high military intelligence, men in black, sheriffs, you name it. Check it out. Thank you for watching. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd. Believe it or not. And today we were supposed to have on Daryl D. James, and I sent him the link a couple days ago and have sent subsequent emails today and have not heard back from him. But that's part of being a host of a show. Sometimes you have guests scheduled, and for some unknown reason, uh, your scheduled show, you have to wing it. And the show must go on. And that's how it is. I was contacted yesterday by somebody, and they wanted to do a show, and we've been communicating back and forth. And hopefully they will pop up here behind the scenes backstage, and I'll bring them on. But guess what? I'm prepared because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be prepared for anything and everything at any time. And well, here I am. I'm prepared. So let me go run through this real quick for you guys. Yes, I'm going to do a little promotion. So is what it is. Let me go home. Whoop, there we go. Boom. All right. Here's my home page. You want to email me? Just click on that link. I'll take you straight to it. But guess what? We've got some new books. And I know these aren't very legible. I have to redo them. And that's partly because Anne uh, doesn't know, well, she does now. She didn't know the formatting. So these are available. She wrote these, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. This is a revocable living trust class, irrevocable trust class, dynasty, or a perpetual family trust. I'm sorry, not classes. These are books. Blech. They're all $49.99 each. Hello. Last call. Please. Yep, always. And run your trust like a pro. And well, looks like I got to go redo these because they're wonky. But this one, Asset Protection Trust, this one's $49.99. Canada. If you're in Canada, you need a revocable trust. Here's the book for you. So I'll go back and reformat all these. I don't know why. Yeah, they should look like this. But anyway, tailor-made trust, the classes, the books, etc., etc., etc. That's on my website. Go check that out if you want. I just want to let you guys know. 2 new books are out. Canada, gotcha. Australia, New Zealand. I don't know when she's going to send me. Excuse me. I don't know when she's going to send me those books. When she does, I will post them. I will let you know about them. But here's something for you guys. Get the original popped up. And as you know, I am in Houston, Texas. I'm from Houston, Texas. I was born and raised here. And Houston, we have a problem. Absolutely, we do. As you see right there, data shows 189 bodies recovered from Houston bayous in the last 8 years, folks. This is getting crazy, actually. This is by Jaewon Jung, reporter, published October 28, 2025. KPRC, this is a local NBC affiliate here in Houston, Texas. KPRC requested data from January 2015 until now, but the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office was only able to provide data from January 2017. Here's what we found. In 2017, there were 18 bodies. 2018, 17 bodies. 2019, 12. 2020, 26. 2021, 15 bodies. 2022, 19. 2023, 22. 2024, 34. 2025, 27. And we still have 60 days roughly remaining in the year. They even broke it down by zip code. 77002 is downtown proper. 023 is the east side. 0003 or 003 is east downtown where I frequent. There's the old Bloody Nickel right there, 5th Ward. And it's actually good to see that none are in my jurisdiction, 77040 or 092 or 018. Because originally, when I moved here, our zip code was 77018, and then it changed to 092, and I moved about 2 miles from there, and now I'm in 040. I wanted to let you know that there is an issue here. There is a problem in Houston, Texas, obviously. And I don't know what they're going to do about it. And I will go and change everything. Why do I have that's why I have a black screen. Let's see if that popped up. There we are. All right. Looks like I'm not having any issues with StreamYard today, which is a good thing. So let me run through the news with you guys because I have a lot to present to you. You're going to get some edumacation today. I hope you enjoy it. Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Folks, I've been telling you this. Internal documents show the company that changed how people shop has a far-reaching plan to automate 75% of its operations. This is from the New York Times. You have a preview of this article. No. Over the past 2 decades, no company has done more to shape the American workplace than Amazon. In its ascent to become the nation's second largest employer behind Walmart, it has hired hundreds of thousands of warehouse workers, built an army of contract drivers, and pioneered using technology to hire, monitor, and manage employees. Now, interviews and a cache of internal strategy documents viewed by the New York Times reveal that Amazon executives believe the company is on the cusp of its next big workplace shift. replacing more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Amazon's U.S. workforce has more than tripled since 2018. Almost 1.2 million people are employed by Amazon here in the United States. But Amazon's automation team expects the company can avoid hiring more than 160,000 people in the United States it would otherwise need by 2027. That would save about 30 cents on each item that Amazon picks, packs, and delivers to customers. Executives told Amazon's board last year that they hoped robotic automation would allow the company to continue to avoid adding to its U.S. workforce in the coming years, even though they expect to sell twice as many products by 2033. That would translate to more than 600,000 people whom Amazon didn't need to hire. At facilities designed for super fast deliveries, Amazon is trying to create warehouses that employ few humans at all. And documents show that Amazon's robotic team has an ultimate goal to automate 75% of its operations. And I'll just read the end of it. Amazon is so convinced this automated future is around the corner that it has started developing plans to mitigate the fallout in communities that may lose jobs. Documents show the company has considered building an image as a good corporate citizen through greater participation in community events such as parades and Toys for Tots. Oh yeah, that'll help pay people's mortgages and their rent and their utilities, their car payment, their insurance. Oh yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That's the end of the article. Just want to give that to you and let you know what is coming. Now, for those of you who do pay attention to me and my show, there we go. I just told you Walmart is the largest employer in the United States, right? And I have worked 3 out of the last 4 Walmart conventions. I have seen the technology that they have for the future. Absolutely. Guess what? We're not part of it. It's going to be all automated. They're going to have warehouses that are going to be dark warehouses that are going to operate 24/7, 365, no time off, no holidays, no vacations, just seamless robots working in the dark all the time. No humans needed until one of the robots malfunctions, and eventually the robots will take care of that. Absolutely. So stay tuned for that one. That's coming, folks. All right, here's one on our old buddy, old pal, Elon Musk. What is Elon Musk up to? You know, the old Iron Man. Well, Elon Musk frets over controlling Tesla's robot army as car biz rebounds slightly. Tesla's profit actually fell 37% compared to the same period last year, despite buyers rushing to take advantage of the expiring EV tax credit. Let's go look at the original. There's your Iron Man. All right, who wrote this? We got any credits? Sean O'Kane. This is from TechCrunch. Tesla's record sales quarter has offered the company a reprieve after a terrible start in 2025, but CEO Elon Musk is focused on building a robot army and making good on his years-long unfulfilled promise of self-driving cars, tasks he needs to accomplish if he is to unlock the full value of the $1 trillion compensation package that Tesla wants to award him. Hold on, let me repeat that. Tasks he needs to accomplish if he is to unlock the full value of the $1 trillion compensation package that Tesla wants to award him. So it looks like if he can get this robot army, that he already has a deal, a contract worked out with Tesla that would bestow upon Elon to become, obviously, the world's wealthiest individual at $1 trillion. Wow, what a compensation package, right? The tension between Tesla's current automotive-driven business and the AI-centric one that Musk is aiming for has never been more clear. Tesla delivered a record number of vehicles in the third quarter of 2025, thanks in large part to a rush of customers in the United States who took advantage of the expiring federal EV tax credit. But that record quarter did not lead to greater earnings. In fact, Tesla's third quarter profit was still 37% lower than it was the same quarter of last year in 2024. Tesla shipped 497,099 cars in the third quarter. Wow, that's quite an achievement, which generated $21.2 billion in automotive revenue, the company's best revenue figure in more than a year. But Tesla only pulled in a profit of $1.4 billion. Oh man, sucks to be them, right? Up just $200 million from the second quarter of this year, according to a shareholder letter released Wednesday. The record quarter came after an abysmal start to the year for Tesla, which saw sales drop mightily, in part because of Musk's involvement with the Trump administration. We remember all that. So blah, 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 blah. Let's get down here to the nitty gritty. Musk said, "We are at a critical inflection point for Tesla and our strategy going forward as we bring AI into the real world, beginning of scaling quite massively, full self-driving and robotaxi, and fundamentally changing the nature of transport. All of this will put even more pressure on the company's final quarter of the year coming up." Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to bore you with all this. I got a lot of information to cover for you guys. Musk further said, let me see, Tesla offered little new info on those programs in Wednesday's letter. Musk said on the conference call that Tesla may start building a third version of Optimus, which is their humanoid android, in the first quarter of 2026. He had once promised to build thousands of robots by the end of this year, 2026, but as the information has reported, Tesla has run into problems in early production with Optimus. And I'm quoting, "Bringing Optimus to the market is an incredibly difficult task, to be clear. It's not like some walk in the park." He continued, "You can actually create a world where there is no poverty, where everyone has access to the finest medical care. Optimus will be an incredible surgeon." Wow, there you go. So you already know who's going to cut on you. It will be Optimus. The increased focus on AI, robotics, and self-driving cars, including starting production of the two-seater Cybercab, will also cost Tesla more next year. Taneja said capital expenditures will increase substantially in 2026 thanks to those projects. He also said Tesla has had to increase employee-related spending to stay competitive in the ongoing AI talent war. Tesla's third quarter results come amid a backdrop of the company's proposal to hand $1 trillion worth of shares to Musk. That plan is up for a vote at the Tesla's annual shareholder meeting within a few weeks. The company and Musk are campaigning hard, while advisor groups like ISS and Glass Lewis are recommending against the pay package. It's most likely going to pass, giving the overwhelming support from shareholders on previous efforts. That hasn't stopped Musk from threatening to walk away from Tesla if the package is not approved. On Wednesday's call, he reiterated his claim that he cares more about the voting control the compensation package would afford him than the money. Well, of course, if you're the world's wealthiest individual, do you really care if you're going to become the world's wealthy individual again? Right? And I'm quoting, "I just don't feel comfortable building a robot army here and then being ousted because some asinine recommendations from ISS and Glass Lewis, who have no friggin' clue. I mean, those guys are corporate terrorists," close quote, Musk said. So there you go. We are on the cusp of the first trillionaire, and it may be Elon Musk. You read it here. You heard it here first, as usual. Right? I know. I'm always the one to break the news to you. My guest said she would be on about 10 after. It is 19 after. She's not backstage. So we'll continue on because I am prepared to do a show. So that's what you do. Let's see. Oh, y'all ready for a new phone? Y'all check this out. This phone's going to trip you out. Probably have not seen it, not heard of it, but here it is. This is a quick little video. It's only 2 minutes.
How's this one? Good call. I'll go with yours. What y'all think about that little phone? Oh, I'm frozen again. Let me restart it. All right. Sorry about that. Like I said, StreamYard, I don't know what the deal is with StreamYard. I'm going to beat them up every chance I get. I keep sending them texts and emails. StreamYard customer service is non existent. It does not exist. There's no person you can talk to, there's no place you can get immediate assistance. And that's what their CEO, that guy, that he needs to take a long walk on a short pier with lead weights. I'm gonna say that dude's trash, freaking garbage. Yeah, I have my own opinion, and I'm able to express it because I cannot get anybody from StreamYard to reply to me. Period. Send them my phone number, email address, everything. It sucks. Garbage. But I could go back to Zoom, but sucks. All right, next up we have, well, I don't know why it took me there. It's not where I was at. On that one, there we go. All right, here we go. We have another article. This is from Caltech. That would be California Technology University. And Caltech and Technology Innovation Institute demo multi-robot response team. This is from October 14th, 2025. Introducing X1, the world's first multi-robot system that integrates a humanoid robot with a transforming drone that can launch off the humanoid's back and later drive away. Did you hear me correctly? So this is like a Swiss Army knife for, I don't know, robots, androids. The new multimodal system is one product of a 3-year collaboration between Caltech Center for Autonomous Systems and Technologies, CAST, and the Technology Innovation Institute, TII, in Abu Dhabi, and United Arab Emirates. The robotic system demonstrates the kind of innovative and forward-thinking projects that are possible with the combined global expertise of the collaborators in autonomous systems, artificial intelligence, robotics, and propulsion systems. Right now, robots can fly, robots can drive, robots can walk. Those are all great in certain scenarios, says Aaron Ames, the director of Booth Cressa Leadership Chair of CAST and the Brin Professor of Mechanical and Civil Engineering, Control and Dynamical Systems and Aerospace at Caltech. But how do we take those different locomotion modalities and put them together in a single package so we can excel from the benefits of all these while mitigating the downfalls that each of them have? So basically what they've done is they've taken these humanoids and let's see what this is like.
CAST, Center for Autonomous System Technologies, created a venue for collaborations between TII and Caltech. And with this collaboration, we tested the limits of both groups in creating new ideas and new systems.
TII is the Technology Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi. We have been trying to establish a leading role in the technology development in the country. And we believe that we succeeded on this.
Because of the deep collaboration with TII, we're able to take on these much bigger problems. So it is really a blending of these two worlds together. And the hope is we get the best of both worlds. So right now, robots can fly, robots can drive, and robots can walk. Those are all great in certain scenarios. But how do we take those different locomotion modalities and put them together into a single robot that has the ability to walk, fly, and drive? When is the sum of the system greater than its parts?
This is quite an interesting challenge to overcome because this is one of the first attempts to have a multimodal robot where we bring 3 different modalities together. There is the ground vehicle, there is the aerial vehicle, there is the humanoid. And all of this comes together in some sort of collaboration that allows us to overcome many use cases.
The challenge is how to bring different robots to work together. So basically, they become one system providing different functionalities. With this collaboration, we found a perfect match to solve this.
We installed different kind of sensors from LiDAR, cameras, rangefinders, and we combined all this data to understand where the robot is. And the robot understands where it is in order to go from one point to another. So we bring the capability of the robots to move around with the autonomy. And this is what makes the collaboration very fruitful.
The white drone that we built for this demo contains the TII's cutting-edge flight controller and computer technology called the Saluki. And so by putting that into our drone, we're opening new possibilities for autonomy and safe autonomy that is not subject to cyber attacks or other adversarial attacks on our drone.
My part was to say, one, how do we attach this drone to the humanoid robot, but also how do we actually lease a drone from a humanoid robot? This is the demo. It was a very important step towards this multi-robot collaborations. This is the first time a drone and a humanoid has been working together in this way.
And doing this face-to-face, interacting with people, starting to get to know each other, this is very important.
Our TII collaborators focused on autonomy, and Caltech's team focused on locomotion modeling and controls, and Northeastern focused on morphing robot design, mainly M4 robot design. And we had a great connectivity between the research members.
Working with TII has been a great opportunity for me. It's an experience that opens our horizons in terms of how we can create new technologies with partners from across the globe and tackle challenging problems that are relevant not only here, but in an international context.
We are very appreciative of the leadership at TII. They align very much with what we think future of science and technology should be.
Nah, frozen again. Be right back. All right. Man, StreamYard sucks. It sucks. All right. So there you go with the Swiss Army knife of AI and robotics. What that looks like. Yeah, I've got some more. So I still don't have my guests backstage, but you know, it is what it is. Let me go show you this, and I'm just going to continue on. And here we go in West Texas, folks. West Texas. This is from KACU 89.5 FM NPR, Abilene's public radio. Remote West Texas Observatory connects distant astrophotographers to great views of the heavens. This is by Josiah Wanell, published October 8th, 2025. For people living in West Texas, the night sky might feel ordinary, but for astronomers and photographers around the world, it's something rare. One of the clearest, darkest windows into the universe left in the United States. Absolutely. You get over there in the mountains in Big Bend, West Texas, and yes, very, very, very starry skies. The reason is there are no light pollution, basically. So when you look at, you're in an airplane, you're flying over a big city, you can see all the lights. So that's what makes West Texas very unique. This is known. People in Texas know this. That's what makes Starfront Observatory so unique. Opened in 2024 near a small town south of Abilene, the project gives people everywhere the ability to see the Texas night sky without being there in person. Founded by Bray Falls, Starfront has quickly become the world's largest remote observatory by a number of telescopes. The idea is simple but transformative. Telescope owners ship their equipment to the observatory where it's housed under pristine skies. From anywhere in the world, they can log in and control their telescope as if they were standing right beneath it. For astrophotographer Carlos Garcia, who lives in Miami, that access is life-changing. Surrounded by heavy light pollution in his neighborhood, he thought deep sky astrophotography was out of reach. Now, from his computer or phone, he connects directly to his telescope in West Texas and captures images that would otherwise be impossible in his city. West Texas offers the perfect conditions for this kind of work. The region has few large cities, plenty of wide open spaces, and a high altitude that keeps the air dry and clear. ACU physics professor Donald Eisenhower explains, and I quote, "By the time you get to West Texas, the main difference is altitude. The lower you go, the worse it is. As you head towards the coast, things are worse," close quote. He's talking about light pollution. Fall says the location struck the right balance, reliable power, fiber internet, and some of the darkest skies in the country. That combination makes it possible for hundreds of users to upload and process enormous image files from their telescopes without being on site. To protect the equipment, Starfront uses an automated roof system. If clouds, rain, or high winds roll in, the observatory seals itself, ensuring dozens of telescopes stay safe until the skies clear again. Well, I see this as a business opportunity. If you have a good telescope, you can actually rent it out, kind of like an Airbnb, wouldn't you say? There you go. Y'all go make some money. The project isn't just about infrastructure, though. It's about people. Absolutely. Falls and his team support everyone from first-time stargazers to professionals chasing fine details of distant galaxies. Quoting, "We answer everyone's questions, whether they are a total beginner or someone super experienced," he says. For many, seeing stars this way can be profound. Longtime astrophotographer Paul Wertheim, I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please forgive me, Paul, notes that the city dwellers are often shocked the first time they witness a truly dark sky. He compares it to reactions at Big Bend National Park, where visitors often comment they've never seen so many stars at once. Boom. There you go, folks. Breaking it down for you. Starfront brings that same wonder to people across the globe. What once required a trip to remote Texas highways or national parks can now be experienced from anywhere with an internet connection. In its first year, the observatory hosted 260 nights of successful observations. And for Falls, that's the reward, making the universe accessible to anyone who wants to look up. From the quiet skies of West Texas, Starfront is opening the heavens to the world. There you go. Thank you, Josiah 1L, for that report. This is what the observatory looks like. If you ever get a chance to go out to West Texas, please do yourself a favor. Get out there and see those just black night skies and just horizon to horizon stars everywhere. You'll see the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, you'll see everything up there. It's just, it's incredible. How I know that? Once upon a time, I used to live in Brownwood, Texas on the Havens unit, and I did a 6-month in-prison therapeutic treatment program there. So every day I got to see the West Texas skies. Not as clear as I would have been in a more rural area because I was in a city of Brownwood, but yeah, that's what it looks like. All right, next up on the agenda. Oh yeah, this little character. Y'all gonna listen. You're gonna be able to get you an android robot, a humanoid. Okay, it's gonna be capable. Yeah, I don't know if it'll do the dishes, but definitely probably vacuum your house, can probably dust and just do some menial tasks. These little android humanoid robots are becoming so affordable, everybody's going to have one. Okay. They are now less expensive than an iPhone. Absolutely. So let me show you one. This is one of many, folks. This isn't just the only one. I showed you one yesterday. This is another one. That's what I'm inning. I hate you, StreamYard. You're really pissing me off. StreamYard, you're going to get another message after this video, and you're probably not going to like this one. I am going to cuss you up one side and down the other for your just total uh, incompetency. But anyway, that was Booster. And what I'm trying to show you is that there are multiple, I don't know exactly how many. The robot that I profiled yesterday, and I don't even know who made it. I don't even remember the name. It's $1,500. I think 1,400. Yeah, and you're going to be able to pick you up one. You're going to like see your neighbor, or you might even see a robot walking a kid to school or something. You never know, or flying them, and then landing and walking back, or flying back, or rolling back. Just imagine not having to get up and cook breakfast for your kid or make their lunch. You got the Android doing it. It's like your coffee pot. I'm going to set it. It's going to brew my coffee at 6 p.m. I'm going to wake up at 6:20 to a pot of hot, fresh brewed coffee, right? Same deal, folks. People are going to surrender their humanity for convenience. Trust me on this. People are going to have no problem going into a digital reality, a digital omniverse. And it's insane what's going to happen. So, stay tuned for that. Ooh, here we go. Yeah, definitely want to get into this one. Here we go from interestingengineering.com. This is by Nitika Walker, published October 16th, 2025. Venom-like soft robot uses smart gel to morph, stretch, and mimic biological motion. A soft robot powered by electromorphing gel shapeshifts like Venom, marking a breakthrough in soft robotics research. It's getting freakier and freakier by the minute, folks, okay? Because this technology is accelerating so quickly, and so many different entities are doing this. Every college, every university, every R&D for multinational and even national corporations, other countries, everybody is fighting to get this technology. So here's an image. It bends, it stretches, it slithers, just like a creature straight out of a Marvel movie. I keep telling y'all, this is going to be just like a graphic comic. Researchers have developed a super agile robot that can shapeshift using a special electromorphing gel, mimicking the fluidity and adaptability of the comic book anti-hero Venom. Created by scientists at the University of Bristol and Queen Mary University of London, this soft, jelly-like humanoid gymnast showcases unprecedented flexibility in motion and form. The breakthrough introduces an electromorphing gel, EMG, that enables robots to change shape and move with lifelike agility. Unlike traditional rigid robots, the EMG model can contort its limbs, twist its body, and even swing across surfaces. This remarkable flexibility comes from the EMG's unique ability to respond to electric fields. When voltage is applied through ultralight electrodes, the gel reshapes itself, bending, stretching, or contracting based on the desired motion. Electric Grace in Motion. Study lead author Siquan Zhu, I hope I pronounced that correctly, forgive me if I didn't, research associate at the University of Bristol School of Engineering, Mathematics, and Technology said, and I quote, "Soft robotics is an exciting and rapidly advancing field, both here in Bristol and worldwide. Our EMG robot, which resembles something straight out of science fiction, marks an exciting breakthrough that paves the way for further progress in soft robotics." Close quote. Soft robotics have long been promised a gentler, more adaptable approach to automation, but their performance has often been hampered by slow response times and limited morphing capabilities. This contrasts with previous magnetic micro robots requiring heavy, bulky, and expensive electromagnets. By constructing the EMG robot from a soft polymer composite incorporating nanocrystalline conductors, it can be manipulated remotely by electric fields with a high level of control and body morphing. The EMG robot changes that. Its electroactive gel structure allows for rapid multi-directional motion without bulky external magnets or mechanical components. In tests, the robot performed large-scale deformations and complex movements beyond the limits of current designs. It maintained consistent performance across 10,000 actuation cycles, proving both its endurance and stability. From labs to liftoffs, the EMG's versatility can make it a valuable addition across industries, including medical wearables, rescue robotics, and deep space exploration. The geometry of an EMG robot can be tailored to specific application scenarios. Its geometry can be tailored for specific scenarios, and in one demonstration, the humanoid gymnast robot used its flexible limbs to swing across a ceiling for locomotion. Researchers say the material can even be integrated with rigid robotic parts to create hybrid machines suited for complex high-stress environments. Siquan added, quote, "The potential applications of soft robotics are as broad as they are exciting. From space exploration to wearable devices in healthcare, soft robotics can push the boundaries of what's possible." Think of EMG robot and future soft robots as Swiss Army knives. Their adaptability can provide a diverse range of tools for situations where traditional robots may not be suitable. Close quote. That's the end of the article. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. I'm giving you, God, man, every time. This is getting annoying. Let me reset it. I apologize. It's not my fault. I don't have anything to do with this. This is all StreamYard. I don't know why. Whenever I play something, share the screen, it comes back and it's frozen. It's on you, StreamYard. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, so I just showed you a gel structured robot that can slither, twist, extend, swing from the ceiling. Wait till you see this next one. All right, it's y'all pay attention, folks. Metabots shapeshift from flat sheets into hundreds of structures. The Metabots resemble animated sheets of plastic capable of moving around a surface or grasping objects. Let's go look at the original. This is from North Carolina State University. And this is what I keep telling you folks. All these colleges and universities all across the world, not just in the United States, across the world. Okay. There are tens of thousands of these colleges and universities, all trying to create the next big thing. And here we go. This is by Matt Shipman. And this isn't a very good illustration in my eyes, but it kind of shows you what it does. And this is, I guess, a research paper. So I'll read it to you. Researchers have created a class of robots made from thin sheets of material that can snap into hundreds of stable shapes, allowing them to execute a wide variety of actions despite the fact that they have no motor and are made of a single flat material. These metabots essentially resemble animated sheets of plastic capable of moving around a surface or grasping objects. And I'm quoting, "We start out with simple polymer sheets that have holes in them, but by applying thin films to the surface of the polymer, we're able to incorporate materials that respond to electricity or magnetic fields," says Ji Yin, I hope I pronounced that name correctly, corresponding author of a paper on the work and a professor of mechanical and aerospace engineering at North Carolina State University. Again, quoting, "These films serve as actuators, allowing us to change the shape of the sheet remotely." Further stating, "By connecting multiple sheets, we create structures that lie flat initially, but can then bend and fold themselves into a wide variety of stable configurations," says KZ Zhao. I hope I pronounced that right. The first author of the paper and PhD student at North Carolina State. In quoting, "For example, if we connect 4 sheets, we have a metabot that can lie as flat as a sheet of paper, but fold into 256 different stable shapes," close quote. "These flat robots have multiple modes of movement capable of jumping or crawling at multiple speeds." Y'all want to go watch a video? Let me get that period off there. We're going to paste and go. I don't know if we're going to go with it. Pause that. See if we did. And we did not. So I'm going to stop sharing. Come back and share. And frozen again. Let's play that again. Let me do it again. StreamYard. Definitely not going to be it. Well, what did you think about that? A sheet of paper been able to walk without motors. Is that not scary? Did that one. Oh, and there we go. Like I said, there's a. Yeah, I don't think I'm doing any more of this with StreamYard. I'll probably go over and subscribe to Zoom. I've just had it with StreamYard. They suck, is what it is. Not much of a better choice in choosing Zoom. Zoom's way overcomplicated, way too much shit. You have to have basically a PhD in Zoom to operate Zoom fully for all its functions and capabilities. But there you go. My other guest no showed, which, yeah. So my original guest no showed, my backup guest no showed. And they are actually in the same category. They both are allegedly super soldiers. So you take that with what you want to take it and make your own determination. That's all I can tell you. It's not a category I cover. Obvious reasons why I don't. Oh, hey, guess who joined the show? I didn't hear back from him, but wow, here we go. I do have Daryl backstage, and he looks like he's getting comfortable. So, how was that for prescient timing? That was just on point. So, here we go. Y'all ready to get with the show? Let me go over here and give you guys an introduction if I can find it again. I've got so many tabs open. All right, folks, here is Daryl's website. And let me get back to it. Where was it at? All right. Daryl D. James, former U.S. Navy Secret Space Program survivor. And I'm quoting, "My name is Daryl D. James. I enlisted in the U.S. Navy on January 24th, 1999. I served 7 years, including 1 year in Iraq with the Naval Mobile Construction Battalion, number 7, which are called the SeaBees. In 2004, while stationed at the Royal Air Force Base at St. Mawgan in Cornwall, UK, United Kingdom, that would be England, for those of you who don't know, I passed through what I thought was a metal detector. It was actually a piece of technology that measured every biometric signature I had, including my IQ, which was measured at 195. I was soon recruited to join the secret space program and guaranteed a position as a pilot in Solar Warden, the star fleet that monitors our solar system. After a miscommunication with a 9.5-foot tall reptilian, I was sent to mine the moon. I was sent to the mines on the moon. So he became a miner. All my interviews are found on my interview page. Now, since telling his story, he's received an outpouring of support from all over the world. If you remember me, or if I trigger some memory within you, please reach out. I'm currently writing my autobiography. And Daryl lives in St. Petersburg, Florida, with his collie, Duke. And if you'd like to contact him, you can put your name, your email, your subject, type your message in, hit that, and it will go to Daryl, and he will reply to you. And let me knock out some of these tabs so I don't get confused, since we've already gone over all of this. All right, and I am there. All right, folks. I'm very humbled and proud to present to you Daryl D. James, an alleged, I have to say alleged, because I don't know for a fact that this program exists. There's plenty of people that will tell you that it is a real thing. It does exist. The issue I have with, and as you know, I've had Noel Benoit on my show, NSA whistleblower, Man in Black, who has clearly stated repeatedly that they've wiped his mind to where, all memories are gone. And with this community of people that claim to be super soldiers or be in the super soldier program or in the NSA, in these really deep, dark projects, that they have some type of machine or med bed or whatever that wipes their memory or replaces it or does something. I don't know what the technology is. Maybe Daryl can relay a little bit more about that. But that's one of the problems with Noel. And when he's having conversations with these other people that when he did James Rinks' Super Soldier Activation Conference, and they were doing the interviews up to that event, certain people, certain statements, certain things were triggering repressed, suppressed, whatever you want to call it, memories from some of these folks. So this is part of how their accumulation into their role as a super soldier comes back into their existing reality that they're currently living in. I'm going to let Daryl explain to you how that process works. I know the gist of it, the basic fundamentals. I've never interviewed a super soldier that I know of, unless you want to count Noel, but I don't think he was a super soldier per se, compared to what these folks have allegedly been doing. Let me preface this show with my own personal experience. I've been contacted by multiple people who claim to be super soldiers or been in the super soldier program throughout the years. I even have one person who allegedly has I want to say he's a captain in the super space program, and he was currently off planet and unavailable to come on my show. That's something that we've been working on, it seems like a year now. So I don't know if they're coming back on planet. I don't know if they're coming on the show. Again, the whole aspect of the super soldier program for me is just under this, cloud of suspicion that, is it a real thing? I can give you what my opinion is. My opinion is we've had uh, we've had the ability to, whatever it is, that you can leave the planet, this dimension, whatever, this reality, and go elsewhere. And I believe the United States has had this technology. They have had some type of secretive program, whether it's a super soldier program or something else. The issue with, if you do your history on the all the different branches of the military, the Marines, Air Force, Navy, Army, they are all competing for intelligence. They're all competing for technology, and they compartmentalize this. So what could be happening in the Naval Research Laboratories for the Department of Defense and what's happening over here in the Army research could be simultaneously happening at the same time, and neither one of them even know that they're working on the same project. That's how compartmentalized it is. Let me get that out. So I'm really curious about this whole thing. James Rink has appeared on my show, but he just popped in to say hello while I was doing an interview with Noel. So again, I've never had a super soldier on my show, and I'm very humbled and proud to present Daryl. And hopefully he can provide a lot of clarity for this issue for my audience and for me as well. So with that, Daryl, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, doing my thing. How are you doing?
Are we having any lag or anything? I have a new computer, so are we having it? And can you hear me? Audio's good. Everything's good.
You're A-okay.
Video's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little jittery, but for the most part, yeah, you're okay. And that's probably StreamYard. So don't automatically assume it's your computer, because I've been having issues with StreamYard for the last 2 weeks. Every time I share my screen, I have to come back and I have to reload StreamYard, so I'm not buffering or freezing. So there you go. All right, well, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell them who you are, what you're about, and how you got here on my show.
Yeah, I mean, I could just start from the beginning, and if you have any questions, you could just chime in and, want any more clarity on a certain topic or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined the Navy in 99, January of 99. I was in NMCB 7, Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 7, the SeaBees, and came into St. Mawgan in around 2004, the spring of 2004. And yeah, I mean, I was picked up by the petty officer from the bus station that I took from the airport, and he just said, "This is a weird base, man." Like, that's all he kind of really said. And asked, clarity, and he really wouldn't clarify any further on why it was a strange base. And well, like, first off, I had to go escort from some civilian workers from the corporation Siemens into the underground base. I worked in the garage, which was, like a block or two away from the underground base. And when you walked into the base, there was like a sliding glass door, and behind that sliding glass door, there was something that looked like a metal detector. And the first guy said, "I'm not walking through that bloody thing," so I thought, I don't want to walk through it either. So I tried to walk around, but then there was like a British Army guard, behind a table, and he said, "No, you walk through." So I looked at it. I just thought, well, it's just a metal detector. I walked through. I watched them fix a pump, and that was about it. And then I had a balls to 4 watch, which is like 0-100 to 4 a.m. on a Friday. And I saw Michael Aquino at the quarterdeck. And I thought, wow, like, he's still in the military. He was a lieutenant colonel, and he was looking through papers at the quarterdeck. And the quarterdeck is kind of like the lobby of the base. It's like where you check in, where you check out for leave, vacation and things like that. If there's any kind of a fire on the base, you log it. If anything happens on the base, it gets logged by the petty officer of the watch.
Explain to the audience. I know who Michael Aquino is explicitly. So please explain to the audience who Michael Aquino is.
Hmm. Yeah, he was big in the 80s. He was part of the Presidio case, which was, I think, San Francisco, California. It was an Army base. And I watched like a Rumble video, and it wasn't like something on Rumble. It was something made for TV, like a made for TV thing, like right after this Presidio case. And I think it was like 38 counts of pedophilia he had charged against them. And they just let him go. It was just, they didn't even process him. And I asked my executive officer, I was getting out of the command, why didn't they prosecute him for any of this stuff? And he told me that the judge was a Satanist, both the lawyers, the prosecution and defense, they were both Satanists, and the daycare workers were Satanists, and they're all in on it. And in this documentary, the kids claimed that they were taken down to the basement of the daycare center, led through a tunnel that came to another basement. When they climbed up the ladder, they were in his house. It was, his house on base. And they dug up like this tunnel, where it would have connected, and they actually found remains of a child, like skeletal remains. But, back in those days, I don't think they had, DNA technology like they do today. They couldn't tell if it was male or female. It was just partial remains of a child skeleton. But yeah, that's who Michael Aquino was. He started the whole satanic panic thing. Anytime anybody ever questioned him, he would just repeat satanic panic over and over again, which is like a typical, psyop. He was a psychological operations officer, which is like a typical thing they do, where they just repeat the same thing over and over again to shut people up. And that's who Aquino was. And I saw him in his Army uniform, and he was pretty gray. He had the curled up eyebrows, so I recognized him right away. I saw him he was on Oprah and Geraldo, which were like talk shows in the 80s when I was a kid. And he asked me like, how you doing? And I said, all right. And he kind of gave me the creeps, and I just did another round. I was like doing rover watch, so I did another round around the base, and that's what I saw of him. And then the next Friday, I had another balls to four watch, which isn't common. It's like only if you're late for watch. It's like, they do it like a punishment, make you do it again. Because Friday, nobody wants to be, on base on Friday night in their 20s from, midnight to 4. And the petty officer of the watch, he pointed at the screen at his computer monitor, and he said, what do you think about that? And I said, where did you get that off the internet? And it looked like a picture, just like a black and white picture of like your stereotypical gray. And he said, no, look. And next to that sliding glass door, there was like this window that stopped 6 inches from the floor and 6 inches from the ceiling. And there was like a small room. And behind this window, there was this like gray, it looked like. And it was more of like a khaki brown with a hue of pink about it. It had like a fold of skin going from its tear ducts down its cheekbones. And when it came out of the, he said, do you mind if it comes in here? And I said, does it mind if I stare at it? Because, I didn't know if it was like a wild animal, if it would attack me or anything. And, he said, it doesn't mind. And I heard in my head, it said, I don't mind. And it walked out of that room, came through the sliding glass doors. And it was like very abrupt, like it walked like very robotically, and like a machine. And it was holding something in its hand, and it had very long fingers. Like its palm was twice as long as ours, and its fingers were even longer. So it kind of had to hold its hands in C shape so it wouldn't drag its fingers on the ground. And it came up to me, and I thought maybe, and I stood up and I said, gun, gun, gun. I just got back from Iraq. I thought it was like a pistol. I said, gun. And they all said it's not a gun, and it showed it to me. It opened its hand and showed it to me. And it just looked like a silver, like a polished metal like pistol. But it was actually a drill. And on the floor, like next to me, there was this junky, government issued Dell computer. And it took it apart like a machine. Like it didn't have to guide the bit in or anything. It just boom, 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 boom. And it was catching screws in its palm as it was taking it apart. Slid the top off, and it popped out 2 gigs of RAM, and it reached up on the table and put it down because it was short, and it grabbed 2 more gigs of RAM, and it put them in, it slid it back down, and it kind of just like flicked its wrist and set a screw in between its fingers like perfectly, and it put it together almost as quickly as it took it apart. And then it just stood there and it looked at me, And I remember I looked up like this at this side, and it turned its head for me, and it would move back and forth, and it moved its hands back and forth for me when I looked at its hands. And it was just, naked. It had no navel, no nipples, no genitals. It was just smooth. And after a while, I got kind of bored with it, and it walked back into the underground base. I was just looking at it, and I remember the petty officer of the watch said, "Do you think you could work around something like that?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't see why not." And I remember I was pinching my thigh the whole time. You have a question?
No, I'm in Houston, and we have a shitty grid here, and my electricity has been flickering for the last 3 or 4 days, and it reset my router. So I had to go to my mobile hotspot, and now I actually have Wi-Fi back. So sorry for that. So let's see if I can transfer back over to, because it's not picking up. This laptop's on the Wi-Fi. This one's on the hotspot. I don't understand why it's not picking up my Wi-Fi. There it is. Are you good?
Yeah, I can still see you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good to go. Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah, and I remember that I was pinching my thigh like as hard as I could with my, my thumb and my index finger. I was sitting down when it happened, and the petty officer of the watch said, "Do you think you're dreaming?" And I said, "No, I want to have a mark or something in case you erase my mind, so I'll remember this." And he said, "You'll remember, at least now." And then he pointed at the computer monitor, and he goes, "You're the second smartest person on base." And he said, he goes, "Look," and he showed me like these color-coded lines, and they kind of went up and down a little bit. And there was one right above me, and I was right below it. And then there was like a gap, and then there was like the other guys, like all these little lines, like these color-coded lines. And I said, "Well, how smart? Like 140, 150 IQ?" And he said, "More like 190, 185. And asked me why I was a SeaBee, and I told him I got a marijuana paraphernalia charge when I was like 18 or 19, and I didn't join until I was 21. So all I could do was construction or be a cook." And he said, "Well, that won't affect you here." And he was asking me if I had any hobbies, and I said, "Well, I used to play classical guitar." And he said, "Well, they'll like that." And I said, "What do you mean, who?" I said, "What do you mean, they?" And he said, "Well, there's Germans up there." And I said, "Up where?" And he said, "Like in the moon and beyond." And I said, "You mean like space?" And he said, "Yeah, it's something like that." They really didn't call it space. And yeah, he was just asking me like all these questions, and I don't know, I was kind of like losing my mind as he, because I just saw this thing, and it was very strange. And he said, "You need to go for another round." So I did another round, and I remember I looked up, at the sky. It was night, and it was one of the few nights in like England where it was clear, and I could see the Milky Way belt and everything. I was like in the countryside, and I was kind of like in awe. And I mean, that was about it for that night. And then I remember the guys in the barracks. We were playing that video game Halo, and it was like a couple nights they talked about it, and did you see that reptile today? And I said, "What do you mean reptile?" And they said, "Well, there's reptiles underground, and they talk to you." And I didn't even know they were like humanoid. I was just like assuming it was like some sort of like a monitor lizard that was walking around talking to people in these caverns or something in these underground caves in the underground base. And I really didn't work in the base that much in the underground base, so I really didn't know. And they said, "No, they're humanoid like us, and they stand upright, and they can talk to you, they can speak." And then some of them went on about like elongated skulls are in the underground, caverns as well, underground bases. And I think they said like their average IQ was 160. So like, you know, a genius level, like high genius would be, you know, in the 300 range of IQ. And they like our classical art, our classical music, and they're considered cannibals because they eat people in these underground caverns. And they're close enough related to us to where they can have offspring with us, but they're like mules, like they're born sterile. And but they're still genetically close enough to us to be able to have offspring with us. And there was like another night where we were playing that game Halo, and it was big back then. And one of the guys said, "Yeah, man, I was in the moon, and it was great, and there were all these brothels, and you got to sleep with all these women, and you worked in groups, and if somebody in the group didn't work hard enough, they had these shock collars on you where they'd shock you all. It would be like a, you know, group punishment if somebody wasn't working hard enough." And then I said, "Well, you know, I thought maybe, well, I gotta say beforehand, I talked to the executive officer. He came to the garage, my work area, which is very strange. It was one of those things where they might call you to their office, but you know, they won't come to you. And like the XO, the second in command, he was a captain in the Navy. He came to the garage, and one of the guys said, you know, "Hey, James, you know, the XO wants to speak with you." And I said, "Is this common?" You know, because I was still new to the base. And he said, "No." And so, you know, I went outside with him, and we started walking around the sidewalk. And once we got pretty far away, he said, "Amazing, huh?" And he was talking about the drone I saw. They actually call them drones in the military, and like the khaki, big black eyes, and everything else. And they have like a hive mind, a shared consciousness, like a soul, like a shared soul. They're kind of like the worker bees on ships. They do like preventive maintenance and stuff like that. And you know, I said yeah, and he said he told me about. He said, "Pastor James, have you ever heard of Project Solar Warden?" And I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Have you ever heard of the United States Navy Secret Space Program?" And I said, "No, but I think I could figure that one out." And he said that with my scores, I'd be able to become pilot of a 4-kilometer-long starship. And he explained to me that they look similar to the ships from Battlestar Galactica. And I thought about it. We were talking for a while and walking. And I said, that technology I walked through, it not only did it pick up on your IQ, but it knew if you smoked, if you drank, it knew if you did drugs, it knew if you had any clots in your body. And I said, my father died of a widowmaker when I was young. And it was like a, you know, piece of cholesterol on one of his heart arteries, and he had a heart attack and died, and no warning. And I said, if we had a technology like that would have saved his life, why isn't this available to the public? And he went on about, you know, we can't do it because of population control and things like that. And I said, well, there has to be a side that wants to bring this to the public. And he said, you mean like a traitor? And I said, no, sir. I mean, there just has to be a side. And he goes, well, there is. And I said, well, if you can get me on that side, I'll do it. So I walked with him for a while, shook his hand, saluted him. And he said, one more thing, Mr. James, you're going to be escorted by a reptile, and he's big. And I really didn't know how to take that. You know, I hadn't seen anything. I saw the drone and everything, but I hadn't seen anything else. And yeah, so that goes back to the guys talking to the barracks, and you know, he was saying, yeah, I was in the moon, and they were talking about reptiles and everything else. And then all of a sudden, there was like a feedback loop in this barracks room. And then the voice said something like, now hear this, now hear this. You are now in violations of Section 7 and 8 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. If you do not stop right now, you will face up to 10 years in prison and $100,000 in fines. That'll be all. And it went away, and I looked around, and I said, are there any speakers in here? One of the guys said, with the technology they have, they don't need speakers. And, you know, nobody... I kept on trying to talk about what just happened, and one of them said, they're listening, we can't talk about it. And then this guy I knew in the barracks, he came up to me and he said, hey, James, did you hear that voice in the room? And I said, yeah. And he said, you see those rectangular boxes that are on the radio tower? And there was a radio tower next to the base. And I said, yeah. He said, that's 5G tech. It's something new that we're using in this on this base. And this was like 2004. He said they can create a microwave beam. They can go into a room. They can hear everything. They can see everything, and they can talk to you if they want. And that was something I had never heard of. And this 5G tech was pretty new back then. And so, you know, I had like events like that, guys telling me certain things. And it seemed almost like they were trying to kind of condition me to get ready to see this reptile and get ready to what was about to happen. And it was the night before I was going to join the program. It was going to be, you know, another Friday Balls to Four watch I had, and I was going to join this program. And I was in the TV room at the barracks, and the guy across the hall, he had his door open, and it was one of those situations where it seemed like he was talking to someone else, but he wanted me to overhear him. And he said, you're going to be taken into a room, and there's going to be you're going to be strapped to a chair. It's a density chamber. He said, most of the ETs that we work with, he said, we're third density, and most of the ETs we work with are fifth density. He said, once you get pushed into fifth density, you'll become stronger, faster. Your IQ will go up 200 points, and you'll become more of a collective. And that was just like a random thing I heard right like the night before I was supposed to join this program. So I arrived to the quarterdeck for my watch, and the petty officer of the watch had like a bunch of papers for me to sign. And when I started reading it, the papers said things like, you know, the consciousness of the first party now belongs to the second party. It was very strange language that I had never heard of in the military or in any kind of contract. And I got kind of cold feet, and I said, you know, I don't think I should be, you know, signing this. And, you know, I was trying to read it, and the guy said, we'll be here all night, you know, if you read everything. And I told him, I said, I don't think I should be signing this. And he said, you're already back there, so just sign the damn paper. And I found out later that that has to do with age regression. So they send you 2 weeks early back from when you join, because the age regression takes about 2 weeks. And they put you in like a stasis chamber, and they give you like a series of injections over a 2-week period that slowly age regresses you 20 years. And yeah, the XO told me about the 20-year and back when in this conversation I had with them. And, you know, you join this program and you do it. And after you're done, you'll be sent back in time 20 years. You'll be age regressed 20 years, and your memory will be wiped. And you'll just wake up in bed like nothing happened. And that's kind of like how he explained it to me. And, so yeah, you know, I just kind of had the idea of like, well, I'm doing this for Dad. I thought I was like gonna release technology, medical technology that could help people, and I just signed the papers. And then I sat down. He got on the phone. He said, "All right, send them in." And it took about 5 minutes. I was kind of daydreaming, and he said, "All right, go with him." And in that same, you know, large window with the room behind it, next to the sliding glass doors, there was about a 9.5-foot reptile, and he was kind of like hunched down in the room. He was too big for it, and he was dark brown, almost to the point where it was difficult to see his facial features. He had like ridges going down his head, like mohawks almost, and his mouth went straight across and then up, and he had like gold alligator eyes, like crocodile eyes, and he was wearing one of those tight blue suits, you know, that you see in, you know, UFO lore and everything. He was wearing one of these suits. And I stood up and I said, you know, Jesus Christ, he's not going to eat me, is he? And he said, he's much stronger and faster than you. If he wanted to, he would have killed you and eaten you by now. So eventually it came out of that room, and it was in the quarterdeck, and I was just looking at it, you know, huge. And, you know, so eventually I stood up and I started following it. And there was a different guard this time. It was like a young kid, and he kept on butt stroking me as I was walking through, you know, these underground tunnels. And yeah, and in the underground base, there was red stripe, white stripe, and blue stripe on the ground. And white stripe was secret, blue stripe was top secret, and red was above top secret. So white went to the fewest places. Blue went to some more, you know, went down hallways, looked like spaghetti, like different painted lines going everywhere. And red went everywhere. And there were certain hallways that were only red and they had no light. So I figured an automatic light would turn on as soon as you walked down there. When I was following this reptile, he immediately went down one of these red stripe halls, and it was dark and no light came on. So I thought, I guess these things can see in the dark really well. So I was like pretty close behind it, trying to follow it. And the guard kept on butt stroking me the whole time. Like the second or third time, I said, you know, I'm not looking around anymore. I was just staring at its back. I figured the first time he did it, he was just doing it because I was looking around. And I said, well, I'm not looking around anymore. Please stop hitting me. And then he did it again. So, you know, I had been range coach and everything else in the military before. I wasn't afraid of weapons. So I turned around and I grabbed his weapon and I put my leg behind his legs and I threw him on the ground, knocked the wind out of him. And I was...
Hello. Welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. You are watching an edited version of my interview with Daryl D. James, Super Soldier. We had to edit the video and we could not put it on YouTube, specifically because of the subject matter content that possibly would get me a strike down the road, or even get the video removed and give me a strike. If you want to watch the full version, it is available on YouTube, this platform, as a members only. You can join for 99 cents a month. So it's not me. Listen, you got a problem with it, take it up with Google or YouTube for suppressing free speech. Or, hey, if you're a politician, or you think you are a politician playing politics over there with the Republicans and Democrats, and they're actually going to do something, you might want to check and who was sitting around Trump and just Trump's like, okay, yeah, free speech is dead. Because when they were sitting across from him, he didn't hold them accountable in a public forum for suppressing free speech. In fact, sitting next to him was one of the most suppressive of all free speech, would be the Meta, Mark Zuckerberg. So there you go, folks. I keep telling you, Trump doesn't give a rat's ass about you, your well-being, your welfare. It's all about the Trump family. He's creating the legacy for not his children, his grandchildren. Do not for a minute hesitate to think that that's what that man is doing. His life is over. He's enjoyed the fruits of his labor and spoils. So, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Go catch the full version. It'll blow your mind. One of the most fascinating shows I've ever done. If it's all true, whoa, mind blowing. Stay tuned. Check it out. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time with me.